Hello there, my name is Alexander Rosso, and this is my first episode of building tutorials for Ark. I'm going to be showing you through this series some builds that I've used over the years of playing Ark that I found very useful. Some of them are good for when you're just getting started out on your server, and some of them are good for when you've already got yourself a well-established base but you're just trying to fine-tune things. Some of these are based around PvE, some really nice aesthetic builds. Some of them are purely for functionality for your PvP builds. I hope you enjoy this series, and we're going to get started with an old favourite of mine, the Taming Raft. Now this particular build is very good for you sort of just starting out on a server. It's handy because you build the trap once and then you can take it with you. Lots of servers don't like you making traps all over the map because of the mess involved, and sometimes it can cause issues with lag. So the handy thing about this raft is you build it once, you take it with you. I said it's good for your first time on a server, but it's still useful later on. It's quite handy to put the other end of the map to where your base is, so that you know if you find yourself at quite a high level dinosaur, but it's the other side of the map, you know you've got your taming raft over there, so you can pick up your dinosaur, put him in your taming raft, tame it there, and then with cryopods now you can even pick that up and take it to your base very easily and quickly. No more carrying dinos over an entire map. With all that being said, let's get straight into the build. I am building on Ragnarok, and this is actually Herbivore Island. Now I'm going to be doing this build out of metal, but as I said, it's good for your first time on a server. You can do this out of wood, because a lot of those early dinos don't actually do a lot of damage to wood. So you can build it out of wood, and then later on you can upgrade it to metal when you can. I'm going to be doing it out of metal because I want you to see how my raft is when I'm finally finished upgrading it. So the first thing you're going to need is a raft. I'm going to be doing this with just using a normal raft. You can do it with a motorboat, although I would say I prefer not to because they're rather expensive. So you're going to need various metal objects, but to begin with we're going to need foundations, ceilings and pillars, or one pillar. So the first thing you want to do is you want to get yourself a foundation, and you want to try and place it central. I like to keep the mast up for this. It helps me to really centralize that. Once I've got the first one on, I then get rid of the mast. Next thing you do is you put yourself a pillar in the middle of that foundation, then you pick up your foundation and then replace it next to it. So in case you don't know, the reason we're doing this is how you sink foundations. It's a very handy method, and the reason we want to sink these foundations is for two reasons. One, this makes these foundations go lower than the raft, giving you protection from beneath, which is what you want, being as the raft itself is quite weak. The second reason is if you can lower these foundations to the same height as the raft themselves, it allows you to place foundations even underneath the, I want to say rudder, but I'm sure you understand what I mean. Increases your build potential, but it still allows you to control the raft. So as I said, you just keep doing this over and over again until your foundation is level with your raft. Almost there. Back in the day you couldn't pick these up, so we used to do this out of thatch and wooden pillars, so not as to waste materials, but with updates we can now actually pick these up, and it is so much easier than when I used to do this. Right, as you can see, this foundation is now level with the raft. Once we've done that, you want to build your foundations all around. And as I said before, because you've done it like this, you can still use your raft. Right. After you've done that, you want to get yourself some ceilings out the back here. Right, and then we're going to jump off the raft. Now underneath these ceilings, once you've placed the ceiling, you can place more foundations, like so. Right, there we go, and then you can get rid of these ceilings. If you're fast enough, you can pick these up, or if they've got the settings set so you've got longer time. Right, so once you've got rid of those ceilings, you want to put another load of ceilings. Now if you try and do the same thing again, there we go. Oh. Right. So now we've got a set of 2 foundations behind your rudder. Now let's build our trap. Right, for the trap you need doors, windows, a dino gate frame, sloped ceilings, sloped walls, and regular walls. And you will also need, haven't got space for it, you need a fence foundation. Right, so first thing is you're going to want to get your door, and then you want to place your windows in here. It doesn't matter if you don't hit the right snap point, it still works, but for the sake of this build I do want to try and get this neat. There we go, much better. Right, now we've done that, I'm going to place your actual windows in here. Now the reason you want to infill these windows is because if you're on a PvP server, you don't want someone running up into your trap and then getting into your raft while you're driving. You may not notice they do it, and all of a sudden they sneak up behind you and now they've got everything you had in your raft. On this bit you want to put a door, not door, a wall. But on this side you want to place a sloped wall followed by a wall and then another sloped on it, and then you want to wall up the rest of it. 2 walls is enough. You don't want to go too high because then when you're steering your boat you'll limit your field of view. At the back here is where you want to place your fence foundation on the edge, followed by your dino door. Now when you do your dino door you want to make sure that the doors open outwards. If they open inwards you run the risk of getting your dino stuck inside, and you really don't want that. Right, now the rest of this side here you want to build it so it's 2 walls up. Going all the way back there. And the reason we built this slope here is because we're now going to do the ramp for the dinosaur to get in here. So we want ramps to get started, and then you want your sloped ceilings. There we go. I'm sure you're already starting to get a rough idea of how this is going to work, but just in case. So the idea is that you antagonize the tame you're trying to shoot, you're trying to tame. Then while it's following you, you run up here into the trap. This will be closed, and the dino falls in. But before the dino falls in, you run through this door. But if you run through this door at this current time, you're going to fall into the water. So let's do the cabin. Now, for the cabin, we are going to want some ceilings, and you want to do a similar thing. Similar thing to what we did with the rest of it. You want to build a ceiling followed by foundations. Where are my foundations? There they are. Right. Okay. You may want to build ramps to help you get back onto your ship if you fall off. Even if they're just wooden ones temporarily. So once you've done that, you can get rid of these ceilings. Oh, I picked up the floor. And there we go. Right. And you want to do the same this side of the raft as well. Now, I've got a setting which allows you to build a lot more onto your raft than normal, which is why I'm able to build it as big as I have. If your server settings do not allow this, this is the area where you can make cutbacks. You don't need to make the cabin as large as I'm going to make it. You can make it smaller. The important thing is that you have a door going into here. So you could theoretically put a door instead of this window here and only have the 2 windows for shooting, making this area that much smaller. But I say a lot of servers allow you to build with more than that. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Now I like to put 3 windows here. You don't have to. I'm only doing this for aesthetic reasons. If you're on a PvP server, you may not want to do that. But if you do, put window frames on them, stops anyone getting through, especially with metal, because people can actually crouch and get through those windows. I then like to put on the edges 2 normal walls. You then want to wall up the sides, leaving the 2 ends. The reason we'll leave those 2 ends either side, you want to put a door in there so you give yourself access to your raft. So let's put that door in now. So a door there, and a door there. Now this is a good time to get your ramps done. So you're going to want a ramp for both of these. Helps you get in even in the water. After that, you want to do your walls 2 there and 2 here, followed by some sloped walls at the front. Once you've done that, you want to get your sloped ceilings and take them right across. And then your regular ceilings across as well. And when you do your regular ceilings, you want to leave one gap for a hatch frame. I advise doing it towards where the slopes go. That way you don't accidentally fall into your pen where you may have an aggressive dino. But like with the same with the windows, you want to make sure you put a trapdoor in there. You don't want people getting in, especially if you plan on using this as like a starter base while you look for somewhere. Put yourself a ladder allowing you access to the roof. That is what the hatch frame's for. This can give you another vantage point for shooting the dino if you can't quite get the angle. Sometimes with the smaller dinos it can be a little bit harder, but you don't want to fall in there, especially if say you've got a friend who's driving the boat. It can get a little bit disorientating. If you do have a friend driving the boat while you're on the boat, do not ever jump. If you jump, you will fly off the boat. Oh. Nice angle there, Ark. It's good to put the railings up here just to protect you, as I said, from falling off. Also helps to guide the dino into the trap, because you don't want your dinosaur accidentally getting onto the ceiling when he's running up here. And some dinos have a larger step, so I like to put, at least on these first few ones, a little bit more of height. That is the roof done. And let's get some doors on this raft to finish it off. Right, now this is all you really need for the taming raft, but as I said before, it's quite good for you starter builds. So I like to turn it into a micro base as well. As you can see, this cockpit is plenty big enough for that. So let's get everything that you need in your starter base to show you that you can fit it in a nice, tidy, neat way. It's handy to have this even as an end base, just so that while you're out you can craft what you need to craft. Right, so first thing, it's probably one of the most important things, in any separate base you have, a bed. I like to stick the bed over here. After that you need yourself a smelter and some storage. Over here I like to make this my crafting area, so I'll stick a smithy at the back there with a couple of pestle and mortars. Just in case you're keeping your dino in here for a length of time, it's not a bad idea to have yourself a food trough. You can fit in more storage if you wish, but one thing I would say, whatever you build, never build anything against this back wall. Dinos, as they're in there, can clip through and attack before while you're taming, and last thing you want is while you're shooting up a tame for them to break a storage crate. So before you go out and actually get your tame, make sure you open this door and these windows. The reason why you want to keep this door open and the windows open is while they're in there, you don't want anything hitting you while you're trying to open them. Also, you don't want to be running down with a dinosaur following you and having to waste time trying to open the door. So theoretically what you do, you would, as I say, antagonize your dinosaur by shooting it, get it to follow you up this part of the ramp, it falls into here, you run into here, shoot it, knock it out while it's in there, and then tame it. I will have a quick look to see if there is a wild dinosaur worth taming around here. Don't you love art physics? I think I've literally just sailed through the land. Yeah, I have. Oh, never mind. Ankylosaurus. He'll do. Actually, there's a stego there. It's a bit bigger. So, park your boat with the ramp towards the side of the land. Get your trank gun ready. Now, he's at a bad angle, but this isn't going to stop you. So if you come here, you want to take a wide swing at this. Get him to follow you out. So we've got a ticked off Stegosaurus. That's it. Follow me. This way. Where are you gone? Come here. Okay, that must be a weak one. He's already running away. There you go. There's a Triceratops over there. No, not you. You missed your chance. Okay. We've got a Triceratops. That's it. I'm going to go up the ramp. Through the door. And see how he's clipping through. Now, you can shoot him through the door. Or the windows. But he can't get out. And he's knocked out. So now you can actually like stick your berries in him and start sailing towards your base, and he's going to stay in there while you're taming. Once he's tamed, on the other hand, be careful not to clip through rocks because you might push him out of your raft. I haven't got time to wait for him to tame, so I'm just going to cheat it. There we go. So once he's tame, make sure you shut your doors and your windows so you don't get any unwanted people sneaking on board. You've got your dino nicely in the back there. See what I mean? You can accidentally clip him and he will come out, which you don't want. So, but if that does happen, all you have to do is get him back in the same way. I'm set to follow. And up he goes. There you go, he's in. And there you go, you can start making your journey back to base. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, give me a like, subscribe. Perhaps you would like to see me build something. Maybe you've seen other people build. Perhaps you've built something but you're not quite happy with it. Never know. Maybe I've built it, maybe I've tweaked it. Feel free to address me in the comments with anything you'd like to see in future content, and I will see you later.